Have you ever heard of digital real estate? Neither have we, but apparently it exists, and billionaire Mark Cuban thinks that it's a terrible idea to invest in it. But why would someone invest in digital land in the first place when they could just buy land in real life? We don't know, but we're very excited to find out, so stay tuned. First up, let's talk about the increase in popularity of digital real estate. Digital real estate became really popular last year when more and more users began to invest in digital land in the Metaverse. Let's try to explain how exactly this happened. Well, there were four major platforms where sales happened, one of them being the Sandbox, which, according to the Wall Street Journal, is one of the biggest platforms in the Metaverse right now. According to Metametric Solutions, across all these four platforms, there were sales for up to $501 million. So why do people choose to invest in virtual real estate? That's because in some cases, the value of the virtual real estate is almost the same as the value of an actual house. That's right, last year, Republic Realm made an investment for around $4.3 million on a property inside the Sandbox. This is a really large amount because, for the same price, you could probably buy a house in Hollywood. Apart from that, the Metaverse works much like the real world, so it isn't that complicated. Owners can develop the properties they own by making stores on them or selling and renting land to companies who are looking to market. Sounds pretty bizarre, but people are doing it all over the world. In fact, someone recently just bought a virtual plot right next to Snoop's mansion for $450,000. The buyer goes by the name of P-Ape and is known in the NFT world as a collector. Next, let's talk about the decline in the price of virtual housing. 2021 seems to have been the peak year for the Metaverse because since then, digital land prices have gone down almost 80%. Let's unpack this a little bit. According to WeMeta, the sale price for virtual land has dropped from around $37,238.68 to $14,385.27 on Decentraland, which is almost 61%. The digital property scene has completely changed since November of last year when trading totaled around $229 million. In June, trading volume was only around $8 million, which is a really huge drop. The number of total sales also dropped to just 2,000 after hitting a peak of 16,000. Given the condition of the market, the likelihood of making a profit from investing in virtual real estate is next to zero. Crypto recently had a really big market crash, and with the way things are going, the Metaverse seems to be going the same way. What do you guys think? Is this a temporary phase for the digital market, or should investors be worried about whether they put all their money into a sinking ship? Next, Mark Cuban's disdain. If you're wondering if there are any familiar names who have invested in digital real estate, we are here to tell you that Snoop Dogg himself has a digital mansion within the Sandbox. You wouldn't expect the rapper to be interested in something like the Metaverse, but his interests are even more varied than we expected. Despite the famous people investing in the digital real estate market, Mark Cuban still remains unimpressed. Cuban has always been pretty outspoken about his dislike for platforms such as the Sandbox, and he held nothing back during one of his interviews where he said that it was the dumbest idea for people to be buying real estate in these virtual platforms. He said that it wasn't strong enough to call it dumb, when in fact it is much worse. Cuban's dislike seems to be coming from a genuine place because he also gave his explanation for it. He said that digital real estate was a fairly new concept and there wasn't enough proof that the concept is legit. He mentioned how the current Metaverse market was based on a traditional real estate approach, and there wasn't enough proof about whether it would even work. Also, there wasn't a community formed around the virtual real estate market, which is why it is even riskier to invest in it. Lastly, are Cuban's words justified? The decline in the price of housing is one thing that seems to be backing up Mark Cuban's words. There has been a drop in the values of NFT and cryptocurrency recently, with a similar drop in the prices of digital real estate, but the property market seems to be suffering a lot more. Cuban personally took the names of sites such as the Sandbox and Decentraland, saying that the worst part was that people were actually putting their money towards buying real estate on these platforms. Mark Cuban isn't the only person who thinks that investing in digital housing is a bad idea. Financial advisors all over the world also don't think that you should be blindly investing in the financial real estate market, especially after the recent drop in prices. Advisors have been telling people only to invest as much money as they think you'd be okay with losing, and to not go above and beyond because they could find themselves in a lot of trouble. Cuban is one of the most successful investors in the game right now, and given the way that the digital housing market is going, we're wondering whether his words have more truth than people would like to believe. If you ask us, we think that the man is making a lot of sense. Now for other related news. First First up, Mark Cuban buys a whole town in Texas? Cuban is known for his huge investment choices, but this time we're wondering if he's gone a bit too far. When the news hit that Cuban had bought a Mustang, we all assumed that it was a car, which would have been a pretty reasonable purchase for someone with his wealth. Well, we were all wrong because Cuban hasn't bought a car, he's bought a town named Mustang, which is located somewhere in Texas. The next logical question would be, why would he do this? Apparently, he did it for a friend. We all go above and beyond for our friends, but we're wondering if any of us would ever go as far as to buy a whole town for one of our friends. Now, let's talk a bit about the town itself. It's not a very big town, given that it only has about 23 residents, and it's located just south of Dallas. The town has been on the market since 2017, but there were no takers, even when the price of the town was decreased from $4 million to $2 million. Cuban didn't reveal the final price that he paid, but he mentioned that he just bought the town because the original owner was a friend of his and he needed to get the town off his hands. Next up, Cuban blows $19 million on Laguna Beach house. We're wondering what Mark Cuban's daily routine is like. Wake up, buy a town in Texas, blow $19 million on a house, and then maybe have a nice breakfast. The billionaire investor, who is also the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, seems to be buying up America one investment at a time. Recently, he bought a town in Texas for a friend, but his most recent purchase seems to be more for himself. Cuban just bought a house for $19 million on the Montage Resort grounds at Laguna Beach. Cuban's house is just one of the 13 on this resort, and all of them are built to be super private, posh, and luxurious, which seems to be extremely fitting for a billionaire like him. The property also has an ocean view and 6 bedrooms, amongst other amenities such as a gym and a media room. Mark doesn't just buy property across America, he also makes a lot of money selling what he owns so he can maintain his lifestyle. He recently sold his theater chain, Landmark Theaters, to Charles Cohen, who is a billionaire real estate developer. Lastly, Kevin O'Leary's best Shark Tank investments. Kevin O'Leary, who is one of the oldest investors on NBC's hit show Shark Tank, has made a surprising revelation about his best deals in the past 13 years of the show. According to Kevin, the investments that have made him the best returns have almost always been businesses that have been run by women. He said that he wasn't making it up, he was just stating facts. He mentioned how 75% of his best returns have come from female-run businesses, and not just those businesses that you'd traditionally expect to be run by women. He said that this was simply a pattern that he notices across all areas and sectors of businesses that he's invested in. He said that in investment, there's no secret formula and there are always hits and losers. But he said that while sorting through all his hits, he realized that most of his hits came from investing in women-owned businesses. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Mark Cuban's hatred for the metaverse? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.